Cześć, witam Cię bardzo serdecznie w kolejnym odcinku z The Outer Worlds i dzisiaj zajmiemy się questikiem Dług u przyjaciela, dlatego mamy też przy sobie Felixa, ale zanim tam pójdziemy, to oczywiście trzeba mu trochę punktów wydać, tu umiejętności damy w cokolwiek, po prostu punkty, a tu właściwie. Dobra, i questik mamy tam, Clyde, jedźmy sobie na dół, sobie pistola.
Hey you, looking, got my sights on you.
Dobra, miejsce oko. Jak tu wejść do was, do środka? W ogóle mogę tam wejść do was do środka? Nie zaczniecie we mnie strzelać czy coś?
Well, hey there, Hullhead. Clawed your way out of the groundbreaker at long last?
Uh-huh. Oh, sorry, were you expecting me to say something? Maybe a long time no see or a you've aged, old man?
So, you took Felix under your wing. Kept him busy. Good. Kid always needed a place to belong.
He's been watching out for us just as much as we've been watching out for him. Felix is family, mister.
Hear that, Clyde? I've been making something out of myself.
So long as you haven't been making a fool of yourself. I'm sure Felix has no end of stories to tell of your exploits together. I look forward to catching up with the boy. I'm working on something. Something big. Something the likes of which Halcyon has never seen. And I want Felix to be a part of my initiative. I'm fulfilling a promise I made to the boy, that one day he and I would change the colony together. That day has finally arrived.
Easy there, Clyde. No one said nothing about throwing in with you. In case you didn't notice, I'm pretty happy where I am.
I'm not asking you to walk away from your captain, Felix, but neither should you allow yourself to be controlled by fear. Change is not to be feared. I brought you here because I want to know where Felix's loyalties lie. When the day of our revolution comes, I want to know that I can rely on him. Everyone in my crew proves their loyalty. No exceptions. Not even Felix. I want you to deal with a traitor for me. Name's Trask. Kill him, and bring me proof of his death. His ring should do nicely. Ratted us out to the board. He's been an informant. Has been for years. When he realized I was onto him, he and his little cadre mutinied. Killed 5 of my own and tucked tail. I don't know where he's hiding, but his wife might. Rosanna. Lives on the groundbreaker last I checked. Rosanna knows my crew by name and face, but you're a stranger to her. She'll talk to you.
We get rid of this traitor for you and I'm in? I mean, assuming I want in.
We're building a new world together, Felix. You'll want in. Remember, I want proof. Bring me his ring. I don't care if the hand's still attached. Here, my token. Think of this as my personal signature. Anyone who knows me by my works will know me by this token. Well enough. It's been a few years, but I still remember a thing or two. You had a chip on your shoulder. You'd argue over anything and you'd never back down.
What do you mean, had? And for the record, you never could admit when you lost an argument.
You see what I had to deal with? Let's hear it. A revolution is the work of a lifetime, Captain. I've spent my life preparing for the day of Halcyon's reckoning. Everything you see around you is the result of that preparation. A base of operations, loyal soldiers, freedom from the board's oversight. Hardly. The board is rotting from the inside. Tomorrow, next year, a generation from now, eventually the board will fall to pieces. Entropy is the natural state of the universe, Captain. All systems inevitably dissolve. When that day comes to Halcyon, we will be ready. The skies around Scylla are curiously absent of patrol ships. It's almost as if the board's sphere of influence is shrinking. Besides, our facility is well armed and located on defensible terrain. If the board tries to lay siege to us, we'll make them pay. Not all revolutions involve bloodshed and fire, Captain. The purest act of rebellion is to live according to one's own means, independent of any masters. One day, when the board is weak and halcyon vulnerable, we may claim a piece of this system for ourselves. Until then, we bide our time. Something on your mind? Let's hear it. I was working on this plan for years, saving every bit I could, drawing plans, biding my time. I never intended to spend my life laboring on the groundbreaker. When the opportunity presented itself, I did what I had to do. I left.
You might have said something.
I had some ugly business in Scylla. If I told you, I would have implicated you. Hephaestus controlled mining operations all over Scylla. Most of these operations failed. The company pulled out and abandoned their facilities. Mostly abandoned anyway. This one was running on a skeleton crew. My associates and I seized control in a matter of minutes. Something on your mind?
No dobra. 83 metry stąd, ale to rozumiem, że do statku tak czy siak mamy skoczyć. Gdzie nas dalej ten questik prowadzi? Na doki, na pionier, dobra.
Destination reached. The groundbreaker.
Mam nadzieję, że Felix jest nadal wybrany. Tak, dobra. Okej, i teraz gdzie nas to prowadzi? Cyk. Oj, nie tu. Dobrze, że przynajmniej z tymi nie walczyłem, więc oni są do mnie normalnie nastawieni. Wejdę?
You mind trying to have a moment here? Rufus and I are no longer on speaking terms. I don't know where he is, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you. That's Harlow's mark, no mistake. Guess he's not letting this one go. I don't want any manner of harm befalling Rufus. Not on my account. All right, I'll tell you where he is. Just get out of here, please. Rufus is hiding out in Emerald Vale. Got a few friends with him. That's as much as I know. Please, just make it quick. That's right. Our marriage contract expired some months ago. And seeing how he's technically an outlaw, I wouldn't renew even if I wanted to. Precious little. He and Rufus worked together on the groundbreaker some years back before he vanished. A few years later, Rufus gets a message from an old friend. Something about starting a revolution, something about getting rich. Abandoned his work and ran off that very day.
He must have been recruiting, gathering up his band of revolutionaries.
Word of advice, kid? Anybody carrying on about a revolution just wants to sell you something. I don't know Harlow, never so much as bandied a word with the fellow. You're better off having this discussion with Rufus. Only that Rufus is in a bad way. He came to see me a little ways back. Said he had to go into hiding. Never asked why. He was here to collect his personals, complain about Harlow to me, and say goodbye. In that order. No, and he was particular about that. Said I was better off not getting entangled in his mess. Little late for that, says I. Appreciate it. No offense meant, just been a long day is all.
No dobra. Z powrotem na statek w takim razie.
Crew members Ellie and Max are engaged.
Teranatera. Teranatera. Żart
We are
kurwa.
now in orbit above Edgewater.
Normalnie jak z Familiady. 730 metrów, no to nieźle mnie tu. W ogóle jesteśmy na początkowej lokacji, dobrze mi się wydaje? Gdzie jest znacznik? Lecimy. Aha, tylko jak ja mam tu się dostać na górę?
That's one down.
Tyk, leżą wszyscy. No serio, jak ja mam tam się dostać? O dobra. Jakaś tutaj dziura, żeby przejść. Oni nie są chyba wrogo do mnie nastawieni, przynajmniej w tej chwili jeszcze. No właśnie.
I don't know who you are or why you're prowling around here, but I'm willing to make a guess. You're one of Harlow's gun hands, ain't you? He sent you after me. Yeah, of course he did. Thing is, you and I are at an impasse. Harlow wants me dead, and I've got no intention of dying. How do I know that I can trust you? Yeah, guess that's a fair point. Listen, I don't know what lies Harlow's dripped down your ear, but you'd be a fool to trust him. I never betrayed Harlow. Harlow betrayed all of us. The board's got him in their pocket, been paying him off for years. All that palaver about revolutions? It's a lie.
You're a real piece of work, Trask. Not just a turncoat, but a liar, too.
Go piss up a rope, kid. I've got nothing to prove to you. That's the whole truth. Harlow's just another board asset. A two-bit mercenary wearing a dissident's clothes. Yeah, I've got proof. There's always a paper trail when the board's involved. I chanced upon some correspondence between Harlow and his employer. I don't know that it makes a difference. What was I to do with that evidence? Bring it in front of the board? There's no authority in Halcyon willing to take Harlow to task. I hid my papers before Harlow chased me out. Back in the middle of the base, there's an old vent in a utility corridor. I stashed my evidence in that vent. Because he's for sale, anything the board can buy, the board will buy, and that includes loyalty. Harlow was a charismatic bastard, and he was ruthless. With Harlow in their pocket, the board had an informant, a pirate, a smuggler, and a gang leader all rolled up into one odious excuse for a human being. Sounds like a deal to me. Board sanctioned piracy. Harlow went after the ships the board wanted destroyed, capturing anybody the board wanted captured. If we captured you, we'd ransom you. Harlow liked to do the job himself. Gather up the captives on his own ship, vanish for a couple of days. Only that's not what happened. Harlow's been selling his captives off to the board. I don't know where they ended up. Re-education, Tartarus, maybe worse. Take it you've made up your mind.
No i co my mamy zrobić? Mamy mu stawić czoła niby.
You really want to do this, huh?
Here they come!
That's the last of him.
Dobra. Opcjonalne było poszukanie dowodów, ale żeśmy tego nie zrobili, lecimy na statek.
Some crew members are causing a disturbance on
Tak, dodali się, no, to się wdali, nie będę się z nimi brał i użerał. Jak się wdali w walkę między sobą, to niech sobie sami to rozwiązują między sobą. Będę schodził, jak mogę zeskoczyć. Czekaj, tu są dowody ukryte? Myślałem, że to za tym. Ciekawe co teraz, jak ja mam dowody jakieś ukryte przez niego.
What's the word? Not surprised. Trask was a dead man trying to negotiate with his own executioner. He'd say anything to preserve his life. That's a damning accusation. Am I right to presume you have some evidence on hand? You're inclined to believe the word of a traitor. You realize he would have said anything to shake you from his trail.
Clyde, look me in the eye and tell me it's not true. Tell me, and I'll believe you.
Don't talk to me like I'm some common criminal, Felix. You're the one on trial, not me. I don't know what kind of poison that snake dripped in your ear, but as far as I'm concerned, you've been compromised.
Here they come!
Ja mam tu ich wszystkich teraz wyciąć.
Oh, that's the last of him.
Dobra. Gdzie go wypieprzyło? Tu jest, dobra. Nie. Okej, co i teraz koniec questa? A na statku mamy z nim pogadać. Nie bijcie się. Spokojnie panowie. Ludzie. Nie chcemy z wami bić. Jesteście na hita przecież, goście. Co wy tu chcecie? Okej. O matko, wyżej nie mogłeś być, gościu.
Fertilizer shipments be brought on board? Who keeps ordering these?
This is definitely not how I imagined it'd end. The void's black, water's wet, and Clyde hated the board. That's something I just knew. Now? I don't know. I don't know what to think. I've just got a lot on my mind right now. This is a lot to take in. I always looked up to Clyde. The thought that he could be an agent of the board is just abhorrent to me. It's pretty harsh, boss. You including yourself in that lesson? Yeah, I guess I don't know what you're about. But I know you treated me fair. You've given me a lot to think about. I'm gonna be mulling over this whole mess for a couple of days. Part of me wishes Trask was still around, just so I could shake some more answers out of him. Thanks for your time, boss.
No i gotowe. Zadanko wykonane, trzeba wziąć i wybrać kolejne w takim razie. Okej. To nie jest do zrobienia. To jest do robienia teraz. Nie, to nie jest to zadanie, przepraszam. Poboczne nie jest do zrobienia, towarzyszy jest do zrobienia. To wziąłem tu. Nie wiem, weźmiemy tu, wylądujemy i tak trzeba będzie pewnie się przeteleportować jeszcze do innej
We're now in orbit above Fallbrook, Captain.
miejscówy, ale to na spokojnie. Czy tu jest ktoś wymagany do tego questa? Ja Łapka powiedziała ci, jak dotrzeć do miejsca. Ta osoba jest z nami tutaj. Tak. Feliksa olejemy i weźmiemy ją w takim. Będzie pewnie potrzebna nam do questa. Okej, region. Czyli tutaj, stąd będzie łatwiej. O tak. Dobra, to się tepnijmy. Gdzie ten kłaścik jest? Tam. To lecimy. Ale mam moc teraz, ty, napierdalania z tych broni.
Wraps. Let's clear the sulfur sodden fucks out. Here we go!
Nie wiem po co to jeszcze zbieram, jak jesteśmy już blisko końca.
Hayes was the best self-sacrificing son of a saint I ever met. Halcyon is worse off without him. Now, if we're gonna lure the Manta Queen out, we'll need to find Rebecca and Anders. They took a UDL contract on Terra 2. We never heard from them again. Think it's time I call in a favor with Hiram. If anyone can track them down, it's him. I don't know much about it. It paid well, so they took it. They said they'd be back in a couple of weeks and that maybe we could all use the money to get off Monarch. That was a long time ago. I should have. I really should have. But soon after they left, Hayes and the others died. And to be honest, after him, I stopped trying. Because it hurt like hell to do so. Thanks. I'm still not convinced I won't come to regret it, but we've started down this path. Might as well see it through. Maybe it'll stop me screaming at night. Now come on, let's make tracks before Hiram dies of old age.
Okej, powrót na... A nie, tutaj, dobra. Się tepnijmy. Chyba nie powinno być z przeciwników, tylko jak ja tu mam przejść teraz. Dobra.
So much for peace and quiet. Would it kill the universe to cut me some slack? Yes, the one that crashed. I saw it on the security feed. A bit grainy, but an invigorating watch all the same. What about it? Is this bonding? I'm not sure I like it. Next, you'll be asking me how I got the scar on my chin when I was 11. Most of it's underneath along my jaw, but yes, it seems to have faded with time. Moral of the story is, never run with scissors. The board has a blockade of gunships that patrol Monarch. Not a ton, mind you, just enough to deter the masses. I am curious as to what downed it. A faulty part wouldn't be wholly unusual. The supply for new mechanicals is tight. Ugh, now I'll never sleep. Unsolved puzzles really torque my sprockets. If you find out what happened, sell me the info. Not surprising, replacement parts are rare, so the cost of even a simple repair can exceed an arm and a leg. I take it you investigated the wreckage? Don't guess the captain would have quite pegged the price of disrepair being the cost of their lives, but these things happen. A shame. I would have enjoyed investigating the mystery further. Stupendous. He's going to be insufferable now. Thank you for that. I might even... Oh, the indignity. I believe I'll have to make nice with him now. I'm getting a headache behind my left temple. What could be causing it? The glare from the terminal screen? Or something else? Oh, great. I love doing pro bono work for friends.
Aw, you called us friends. I'd normally entertain your self-aggrandizing delusions, but this time it's important.
important to you is not the same as important to me. Although I do recognize that you may have earned some goodwill during your months laboring for me. Tug on my heartstrings, why don't you? Look, I'll do what I can, all right?
Rebecca Hodges and Anders Wadsworth. They took a UDL contract back when Monarch went to shit, and I need to find them. I believe them to be on Terra too.
If UDL hired 2 hunters back then, it would have been for creature clearing purposes, round 1 of their Spacer's Choice outposts. These are the coordinates for the outpost under the last UDL contract. Now scram. And, good luck. Is that a trick question? Because to answer it, you'd need to pay me. Of course, I could offer you a vastly more interesting bit of data instead. Try me. Ask me anything you'd like. I'll even offer it for free. We'll call it an exchange for your help with the broadcasts. Ask me what you will. There are so many members. Do specify. If you try to cite me on this, I will deny, deny, deny. Do you understand? What I am about to reveal is the sort of information that gets a body disappeared. MSI's ownership of Monarch is technically legal, but it would give MSI too much power on the board to grant them such status. That the chairman is politically motivated to keep Monarch from being re-recognized as a legal part of the colony, and his actions as a result are highly illegal. And that is all you will get from me regarding such a deadly piece of data. That was a rather unfortunate matter. She hired me to compile a dossier on Phineas some years back. Embarrassingly, there was dreadful little I managed to unearth on the man. He's got his secrets all right, but he protects them, even from men like me. Luckily for you, I am a veritable font of information. They are a curious lot. Insufferable. And short-sighted, too. What else do you wish to know? Sanjar's not actually at fault for his past performance reviews, but he can keep hunting for loopholes to get back on the board for the next century. He'll never be reinstated. Not in his lifetime. For Nebula's sake, even with the loophole I gave him, he's only in charge of MSI because every other exec died during the massacre at Amber Heights. I gave Sanjar and Graham legal information that would allow MSI to own Terra 1 once the other corporations had abandoned the planet. The execs had their concerns, but before the matter could be resolved, pirates raided their homes in the night. Some say Graham suffers from nightmares that leave him sweat-drenched and screaming. I would assume it stems from the friends and family he lost in Amber Heights all those years ago. You mean between MSI, the Iconoclasts, and myself? I bet neither of those megalomaniacs told you I was the true mastermind behind Monarch. Back when the colony was still Terra 1 and corporations were abandoning us left and right, I'm the one who approached Sanjar and Graham with the means to our salvation. I offered them a legal way to take control of the planet. If MSI were the only corporation here, they could claim sole ownership. Precisely. The other corporations were fleeing because of the hazard clause declaring Terra 1 uninhabitable. But MSI had lagged behind, giving Sanjar and Graham an opportunity. Take over MSI, stay here while the other corps left, take over the planet. Precisely. Without me, they never would have done more than play Revolution in hushed whispers over scuzzy kale ales in the tavern. Thus the bargain was struck. They could run MSI while I would operate Devil's Peak Station. Unfortunately, relations have soured over time. Competing ideologies. Graham believes Sanjar has become corrupted by the corporate lifestyle, that he is now similar to the original corporate executives they sought to reform. And Sanjar has learned the hard way that Graham is quite morally gray. Luckily for you, I am a veritable font of information. Not much, admittedly. I do know this much. There is a sharper side to the good scientist than you'd expect. If allegations are to be believed, the experiments he conducts for the greater good are in fact treasonous and for self-gain. I am not convinced as to the validity of these allegations considering the source, but I am also not unconvinced either. I do know this. What? No. Why would I go out of my way to intercept messages from Earth? There's no market for them. No buyer means it's not worth my time. Now, if you wanted me to intercept a certain one, that might be worth it for the right price. How low you seemingly regard my trade. Business is good on account of you, and hard work deserves a return on investment. How... Give my regards to Sophia.
No dobra. Pogadane, więc możemy zakończyć ten odcinek. Dzięki serdeczne za oglądanie. Zostaw kciuka, subskrypcję, dzwoneczek, wbiję do linku w opisie i miłego popołudnia. Cześć!